So hi everyone, this is the second video about the game framework that I'm working on. This game framework uses P5.js for rendering, and in today's video we're going to cover asset loading, and I will try to explain more how you actually create things in this framework. I'm still choosing the name for the framework. It's probably going to be named Frubit. In the left part of the screen, you can see a working example which I made for the purpose of this video. So that I can demonstrate you a few functionalities of the framework. So this little funny creature can move around. I'm using keyboard controls, and also it follows my mouse. So if I move mouse left, right, it will always follow the mouse. In this video, we're going to try to reproduce this exact example, and I'm also going to show you a tool which will speed up your development as you go. Okay, now we're going to try to make this example. First thing that you do when you start working with this framework, you call npm run dev command. This command will bring up Webpack dev server, and you will basically have live reloading as you change your code. The other thing I want to mention here is your code will be located under source client directory. Under source directory, there are also server and share directories, but in this video we will only work with client directory, in which we will place all our code. Let's go back to our example. First thing that we're going to create is a circle on the canvas, and how you do that in Frubit framework, you just go to the entity and you can call it circle.js. And then you can make a class circle which extends framework entity and has a render method. And render method accepts P5 instance. So we can draw a circle like we do in P5. So P ellipse, and we have to export the circle. Okay, next thing we need to do, we go to controller folder and we create circle controller. Okay, and inside circle controller, which is just a function, so circle controller, we return new circle. We instantiate our renderable object and we return it. And what we have to do, we have to export default circle controller, so that we can use it in other parts of our application, our game. And you see, we have our entity, our controller, and now we have to somehow use those two to start our game. So in Frubit, let me write it down. So okay, in Frubit, you make your game object just by calling framework with, and with accepts an array of controllers, and we have only one controller, so let's include circle controller, and we need to call game init. So init method. Once we call init, we will basically have our example live and running. So you can see that our circle is well, the part of our circle is in the upper left corner. You can see the border of the circle. So if we go here and we change this to, I don't know, 250 and save, we will basically have our circle on those coordinates. Now let's go back to our example and you can see that we're close to the final example. I'm just kidding. So yeah, we have a circle, and now we have to create a background, since background is also a renderable object, if you wanna put it that way. So it's really annoying to create entity in controller each time you want to create something new, add new feature. And for that purpose, I created a little tool called Through. So the framework is called ThroughBit, and the tool which you use is called Through. And in a second, I will show you what Through can do. So if you call Through generate and we say background, you will see that our control, let me refresh. Okay, since I made it yesterday, I also forgot what the command is. So Through create background. If I spelled it right, let's hit enter. And now you see that Through has created background entity, and also background controller, which already has everything. So it returns new background and it exports the controller. So here in background, here where it says to do, we just have to call p background and the color of the background, let's say 50. We just go here and we include our background controller. I have included background controller before circle controller with the purpose because if I include this after the circle, circle won't be visible. So you can see now on the left that we have a dark shaded background with a circle. And currently this circle is just a static object, it cannot move. And if we go back to our example, okay, our example has vanished, so we will need to imagine that little creature moving around and following our mouse, which we will make in just a second. So next thing we need to do, we need to make our circle basically move as we hit our keyboard controls. And we do it by going to circle controller, and framework comes with predefined behaviors or controller wrappers. I like to call them wrappers. So basically you can do something like this, export compose. Here we add our behavior, hit movement control, okay, it's here, and we wrap our circle controller with that. Okay, and we can delete this, and we can export default. Okay, let's just wait a few seconds for the webpack to complete. Let me close this tab. If I go to the game now, and if I try to press the buttons on the keyboard, you can say that our circle is now moving. And this is the right moment for me to show you how asset loading works in the framework. So let's go to the main file, and let's just make constant assets like this. And this is currently an empty object. Let's just give it to the with method. I have in the assets folder, I already have a mascot PNG. So this is our little creature which we want to render in the game. And if I go back to main, I can import PNG, and now assets image mascot. So this is our image resource, and we just tell the framework, okay, this is an image and we want to have image available under this key. So what happens now is I can go back to circle and turn our circle into this red little creature just by saying this is assets. So render method accepts p5 instance and assets map or object. So for a circle we can say p image mascot at the position 0, 0. And just to make sure that our mascot image is rendered in the middle of the circle, so we just need to say p image mode. And if when it refreshes, you will see that the center of the image will be here. Okay, so we see just a part of this. But if I now try to move it, I can move it around, and that's how easy it is to include assets and use them inside your renderable objects. So we have our circle. Now we want this little creature to follow our mouse, and you can go to controller, to a circle controller, and in order to do that you can just add rotation control. So with this wrapper or behavior, our little creature will start following the mouse. So let me just save this. It will reload, and now we can move it around, and it follows my mouse as I move it. So this is basically the complete example which I showed you previously, and I hope you get some understanding of how it works, how easy it is to create new stuff, new features, and add it to the game. So you basically just register your new controllers. If you have an image asset, you can load it easily. And you can also create entities just by calling through create utility, which comes with the framework. So if I want to create a food object, I just make it like that, and I have food and food controller. And that's basically it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.